this spread, and this is a new spread that I'm going to start using, I believe, for the majority of this month, because I actually connect very well with it, and it incorporates aspects of astrology. So the astrology natal birth chart, it has the 12 houses in it, and each house represents a different aspect of your life. And so I have pulled out one card for to represent each house, and then we're going to see how the energy plays out and what messages, what important information you need to know regarding each house. This is helpful to do at the beginning of the year so that we can pinpoint, some trouble spots, so that we can also, whatever problems there might be in a specific area of your life, it's easier to pinpoint, and so that you can iron out the wrinkles, and that you can, fix things so that they don't become aggravated as we progress as I go along, okay? So the first card out of this spread here represents your first house. And the first house is considered the rising sign, or the ascendant. This is pretty much the face that you present to the world and the way with where they are in life. I mean, they're radiating and they have a lot of love and affection to give other people. Your demeanor for this month is very soft, is very ethereal, and it's also very, very spiritual as well. With this card, it basically means, like having a new love in your life, finding a purpose in life as well, and feeling very emotionally stable, emotionally sound. It's also the ace, so it represents, new beginnings when it comes to your emotional life. Okay, so I feel that you're coming into this month in a very optimistic, happy, and just feeling very loved and very cared for and very nurtured by other people. So this is a very great card to have starting out this year. So this is, set intentions for the rest of the year. This looks very positive. The second house deals with your money, your finances, as well as your value system. So the second house, we have the Six of Cups in the reverse position. So let's talk about your money situation, your finances, and income. The Six of Cups in the reverse position, for those of you who have children, first of all, there are a lot of expenditures being, spent on children. And it's neither good or bad. It's basically neutral. And I feel that, they're grown up very, very quickly, and there's a lot of I feel like, just a lot of costs associated with child rearing. And what I'm also feeling as well is a lot of you, if you're in a situation where you have been divorced, there is either, child support, a lot of money coming out towards children, and a lot of expenditures around the household as it relates to children. I do see pets as well for many of you, okay? So a lot of your time resources, especially your financial resources, are devoted towards taking care of children and finances. For those of you who do not have children, the Six of Cups in the reverse basically indicates a situation where some things have to change when it comes to your financial environment. How you make money, and where you're working, for example. So this is an emotional tie, and it's a tie that is, purely emotional, and it's no longer practical. So what that means is, as it relates to your work environment as well, there might be a situation where you have stayed past the expiration date for that job, where you have pretty much learned all the skills that you need to learn, and so you're not really progressing anymore. It's also a job where it feels almost as if there aren't opportunities to either rise up, climb that career ladder, or even like any type of vertical lateral movement. You can't really transfer out. You can't really get a pay increase and things like that. So I feel like you are capping out your income generating potential, or your earning potential. So it's urging you to really re-examine how you're making money and whether or not you're still content, okay? Because I feel like a lot of people are staying in a work situation or earning money a specific way, and they're no longer happy. They're no longer feeling passionate about their work, and they're no longer finding it enjoyable. And more importantly, you are a sign that really, you have a very strong sense of intellectual curiosity. So you want to be in an environment where you feel challenged every day, and you feel like you can learn new things, and you can excel, and you can grow. So I feel like the way that you're making money, I feel that it might not be conducive for growth at this point. So some reexamination is needed in your finance sector. What I'm also getting as well is if, this seems to me like a big card. So this is something for reexamination. So take care of it early on in the year. Set the intention for the year to change this aspect, this area of your life, okay? So I'm doing this spread as a preventative measure. Whatever problem spots that show up, you want to take care of it early on. Otherwise, it will come back and it will, either worsen or it will demand attention, in a later part of the year. Okay. As it pertains to your values, we also have the Six of Cups here in the reverse. I feel like for some of you, especially for those of you who are a little bit younger, the Six of Cups is a childhood conditioning. And what it means is that your value system, for example, the things that you believe in, the things that you really stand up for, there is some sense of like family indoctrination. Okay, so it feels almost as if you might have been raised to believe a certain thing, and then you've never questioned it because everyone around your environment believed it. And so this is a card that comes in to force you to re-examine as well. What are some of the things that, where are your values, and are they still appropriate in the age and in the circumstance that you are right now? So whatever you grew up with, you need to re-examine it with a fine-tooth comb, and you need to go through it and to see if it's really still appropriate for you, and whether or not it is something that aligns with your values, your own personal values, or whether or not it's just something that, that you were just told to believe without much question. So a little bit of a inner work regarding, what do I believe in and where do I stand on a specific topic. That is going to be coming through for a re-examination all throughout this year as well, okay? And we really want to think about, children in terms of like, what types of values do I want to pass down to my kids as well? And so you want to, it's not only re-examining this aspect of your life for yourself, but more so for like the people around you, the people that you love, and the values that you want to pass on to them or to promote in your environment, all right? So third house deals with siblings, and it also deals with communication. So this is another area that needs a lot of focus for the rest of this year as well. Communication with the moon in the reverse position. This is basically indicative of some type of, I want to say like covert, almost dishonest communication. And it might not be dishonest in a way where, somebody is telling a direct lie. It's a little bit more complicated with the moon. The moon in the reverse is like not being able to communicate effectively, where you understand the other person's intentions, and then likewise, the other person might not understand your intentions. And with the moon, it triggers, emotions, feelings. And so what it basically says is that, you want to be very, very careful that you're communicating in a rational way rather than sparking off from an emotional reaction. So be very careful about reining in your energy, because I feel like the energy that you're projecting it's very emotional. It's just like, that visceral, that gut instinct that you have, where you feel like this is the way that it is because it feels right, rather than being able to explain it in a logical, in a rational way, why something is the way that it should be. So I feel like, being a little bit more, I guess, like systematic, organized with your thoughts, being a little bit more systematic. And I feel like, the moon represents Pisces, so it's a card about sympathy as well. In order to persuade other people to your point of view, I feel that you have to know your audience, right? And you also have to understand where they're coming from so that you can put yourself in their shoes and create an argument or, a discourse that will, I guess, like that will speak to their experience so that they can understand where you're coming from and they can feel, more in alignment with your own beliefs. So whenever you want to persuade somebody of something, know your audience, know who you're talking to, and being able to put yourself in their shoes so that you can convince them. That's going to be very important. I am getting a message here regarding some health issues. So I feel a lot of discussions about health, somebody else's health, and even a health of a sibling. So I do feel some communications and things like that coming through with a sibling regarding health issues, okay, with the moon card. In terms of your sibling, your home environment and your sibling. So, siblings, you might have step siblings, you might have, siblings that are adopted, and some of you might be the only child. So let me just talk about people who actually have siblings first of all. The moon in the reverse might have been a situation where, somebody was vacant, like somebody was not there grown up. So you might have lived in different households and things like that, and then you come back together at a older age. So even though you're siblings, you feel like this sense of distance and this emotional estrangement from one another. And then likewise with blended families, step siblings, and even adopted siblings, I feel that same type of energy where you might have like even grown up together, but for some reason there was that emotional estrangement, and you couldn't, you don't have that normal sibling or that integrated sibling type of a relationship with your siblings. For others, especially those who are only child, the moon card can indicate a situation where you might have felt very, very lonely, almost as if you don't have a sounding board, you don't have another person to bounce ideas off of. And I feel as well, a lot of you who might have been only child grown up, I feel like imaginary friends, like having imaginary friends to take place, to create that sounding board so that you have somebody to bounce ideas off of, even though they might not be real. So I do see an element here about feeling a little bit lonely and isolated growing up, almost as if other people couldn't understand you. So you might be, you might have had siblings and you might have grown up with them in the same household, but overall there's a sense of isolation and loneliness. So this is an area in your life that it's a little bit of a sore spot for you. What I'm also getting as well is, in terms of like mitigating this energy, in terms of like sorting out this energy so that it doesn't affect you as we progress through the rest of this year. This is forcing you to have more constant communication with siblings, and if they are not, in a position where they're in the picture all the time, I do feel that, the other aspect here, the other house that can somehow break this cycle and allow you some type of an outlet is the opposite house. So the opposite house deals with the ninth house, which is philosophies, religion, and higher education. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but just to emphasize here, this is a little bit of a sore spot for you. And one of the ways that can really help you mitigate the loneliness associated with, communication, as well as some type of estrangement when it comes to sibling, is to try to cultivate the other area, which is expanding your mind, expanding your horizon, so that you are linking yourself up with like-minded people who can even serve as family members to you, or who can feel like family members because you have a common philosophical belief. So rather than dwelling on blood ties and, who's related to whom biologically, I feel like the other outlet that you have here is to cultivate friendships and group associations even with people who are a little bit more philosophically like similar to you, so that you can focus more on the higher chakra, which is communication and thoughts and intelligence, and being able to verbalize your whatever like being able to like disseminate information, rather than dwelling on this aspect, which is a lot more emotional. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So the fourth house deals with your mother as well as the family environment. It's the family environment that you grew up in, as well as the family environment that you are hoping to create or have created for yourself. We do have the death card in the reverse position, and the death card in the reverse position is a home environment as well that needs some type of change. Okay, so there's a lot of stagnant energy as we are proceeding into at the beginning of your reading. There is already a lot of things here. I mean, we have some new things on the relationship front, but I do feel as well There's a lot of stagnancy. There's stagnancy when it comes to money and income and work. There's a lot of stagnancy when it comes to the housing environment as well. I feel like first of all, let's talk about the house that you're in. The family that you're hoping to create for yourself. It just feels to me like it's incomplete. So there might have been some type of a upheaval that happened in the home environment recently, and it might have happened for the past 3 years because you went through that Saturn transit, that where it really shook up your world so that you can reassess some of the things that was not healthy or happy for you, okay, in your life. So some major upheavals have happened during that Saturn transit 3 years ago. And so what I feel happening here with the death card is I feel that a lot of you want to break out, you want to relocate, but there are some binding elements like, sentimental ties to a specific family, to a specific home. And then for others of you, as it relates to the childhood home that you grew up in, the death card basically means a lot of instability, a lot of like just, it's not a traditional type of a family with the death in the reverse. It's basically like confusing ties. There might have been a lot of changes, like fluctuations in financial status of the parents, which, affects like the lifestyle of the children. So, and there's also, I feel like shifting away to different areas, a lot of instability that came through that it just didn't feel very stable. As it relates to the mother, the death card in the reverse position is a woman that undergoes many, many transformations throughout her life, okay? But with the death card in the reverse position as well, the reversals basically indicates a situation that needs to change, but somebody is not willing to change. So I feel like, the mother might be plagued with making the same decisions, like, dating the same types of people, or even feeling like very stagnant in her own life, but not making the necessary changes for herself. The death card reverse as well, this is your card. This is the card of Scorpio, as it, the major arcana, the first few major arcana, it represents the zodiac sign. So this is the card of Scorpio. And when it shows up in the reverse position, it's basically saying something like, there's a very, very strong emotional tie with the mother. And they're saying literally, you are a lot like, you are more like your mother than you think. And I feel like you actually can learn a lot from her decisions, like the way she lives her life, the patterns repeating in her life, as well as, watching her life, how her life plays out. It's going to provide a lot of, I want to say like foreshadowing for things to come. And keep in mind, these are things that we can change, so don't look at it too fatalistically. So these are things that you can change, but I do feel there's an element here of, having some type of a cyclical, almost like a karmic tie with the mother, where things that are happening in her life are going to, you're encountering similar energies through her life. Look into, I feel like sometime for this month there might be some health issues as it relates to your family members, okay? So just expect that. And I also feel as well like the energy is surrounding siblings and the mother. So those are the two areas. The next card here is the Tower, and this rules your fifth house. The fifth house is the house of recreation, fun, and the things that you do in order to, find enjoyment in life. It also rules the house of children. So first of all, for those of you who have children, once again, be very, very careful about health issues as it relates to children as well. Keep a very vigilant eye on them, because I do sense some issues here. If they are younger, be careful about falls, fractures, and little accidents here and there. And then if they're like like around 13 to around 20 or so, be very, very careful about I feel like some reckless behaviors. just reckless behaviors, like not being where they're supposed to be. They tell you like, oh, I'm going to this place with such and such, and you find out, that they're not there. So I do feel like some vigilance, some monitoring of children is going to be necessary here with the Tower. I actually pulled out another card, and I pulled out another card just to see, because usually with the major arcana cards like the Tower, it's important to pull out another one just so to expand on this concept here. We do have the Ten of Pentacles, and the Ten of Pentacles basically being in a very, very crowded environment and feeling very stifled and feeling almost like claustrophobic. So I do feel for a lot of you, I feel that, it's be very, very careful where you go to, and especially in places that might have, they say like, those maximum occupancy, the restrictions on how many people can be in a specific venue at a specific time. So be very careful about overcrowding, going to places that are a little bit too crowded and then something happens, Also, I feel like inclement weather or something like that, that's going to really affect your ability to really enjoy yourself for this month. I also feel that there is a major transformation as well regarding the way that you entertain yourself. So a lot of you might have been thinking, about entertaining more at home, inviting family over, for example, or even just, enjoying yourself at home. Hosting family or even dinners with friends and family rather than going out, and I feel that you're more focused on savings. Okay, so overall that looks good. The sixth house deals with your health, your work, and also the daily routine. Okay, and we have here the Three of Cups. So first of all, the Three of Cups as it relates to your work, there might be some type of, I want to say like, it's like, this is a card about group acceptance when it's in the upright position. When it's in the reverse position, it's like a little bit of catty energy surrounding coworkers not getting along, and then one person, comes to you with their grievances around about the other person, and then the other person coming to you with grievances, and vice versa. So I feel that you're kind of like caught in the crossfires of people falling out in your work environment. Because you're also the suit of water, I feel that you can also be embroiled in this. So be very, very careful about, work demeanor. So work conduct. So don't get involved in office politics. Don't get involved in, I want to say like office romance as well. Office romance coming to light. So like people catching wind that you are potentially involved with somebody that you're not supposed to be involved with in your work environment. And also just overall cattiness and gossip. Just be careful and to avoid that, okay? Lay low. Just don't get involved when people want to, if people want to vent about a fellow coworker or a boss or whatever it is, just let them vent. Don't chime in and don't offer anything, okay? I feel like it can backfire, so be very careful. The entire three cards here are all major arcana, so I feel that their energy, I read them in relations to one another. So I feel that this area of your life, it needs a little bit of work, okay? So the work environment, especially how you entertain yourself, make sure that you are not involved with like seedy people, and you're not using, doing like destructive things as it relates to recreation. So just things that are self-destructive, okay? And then we do have issues here regarding, communication, siblings, and things like that, all right? So those are the four areas that you might want a little bit. So as it relates to your daily activities and, your daily routine, the Three of Cups in the reverse position as well is, it's a card about, not really going out as much, not really like, I almost want to say like you're not really, I feel like your social life somehow, you're either purposely doing this or, the opportunities are not available, but there's a lack of going out, mingling, and talking to a lot of people. So overall, I do see a sense of like isolation, a little bit of a loneliness. And when you do go out, it feels a little bit forced and it feels a little bit uncomfortable for you. Okay. So you are a lot more selective about, who you are hanging out with. I feel for some of you, I feel for some of you, there might have been some major information or news or things like that coming to light with the people that you're hanging out with as well. So you are reassessing. You're reassessing whether or not they're still good friends to keep around as well. Reassessment is always good when it comes to friendships because oftentimes, we usually outgrow people and we just hang on for sentimental reason. And you have a habit of doing that too, Scorpio. You hang on to people that might not be good for you, mainly because you have a history with them, or mainly because you grew up together. But just make sure that the people you surround yourself with are appropriate for you and that they induce growth and they bring about new opportunities for mutual growth. Okay. Let me see what else here. So, in terms of your health, the Three of Cups is pretty much cutting back on drinking, cutting back on sugar consumption, cutting back on like, the richer foods and things like that. So I feel like you're getting the basic diet, like getting to the root of the matter. So, cutting back on sugar and things that might create excess weight gain and things like that. So I do sense, you are definitely a lot more stringent, a lot stricter when it comes to your diet and, your health. So that looks good. Now, the seventh house deals with partnership, and it could be partnerships in romance or partnership in work. First of all, for those of you who are partnered up with another person in work, okay, so let's just say work first. We have here the King of Wands. This is a fire sign. This is a Sagittarius, an Aries, or a Leo. And this is a person that is, they can be a little bit demanding when it comes to their needs, okay? They can be a little bit like, I almost feel like somebody who is quite intimidating to deal with, somebody that you might be intimidated by, or somebody that is quite controlling, that's kind of difficult and quite demanding and controlling. So this energy, as it pertains to a work partnership, I do feel that this person is looking at other avenues to make money. And I feel that they're scoping out new territories without consulting you. So I do sense as well that, they might want to leave the partnership, or they might want to like check elsewhere. So they're saying somebody with the wandering eyes. So I feel that this can also relate if you are dealing with this person as a romantic partner. So for those of you, and this is it's gender neutral, so this can be a male or a female. If you're dealing with this person, I feel like somehow for the majority of this month, they might be in the picture at the beginning of the month, and then they might be out of the picture by the end of the month. So don't put all your eggs in one basket with this person. If it's somebody new that you've just met, which is, fire sign, sun, moon, or rising, Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo, don't put all your eggs in one basket with this person. They seem a little bit unreliable. It's almost as if they're looking at, the greener pastures. It's almost as if they are emotionally checked out, and they're looking for excitement. They're looking for a lot of fun. They want to do things that they want to relive like their youth. So they're a little bit reckless and irresponsible. At their best, they can be very, very protective, very generous with their time and their resources. At their worst, though, I feel that, there are a lot of control issues here, and you don't like to be controlled by other people. So I feel like you both are working at cross purposes with one another, okay? What I'm also feeling is this is an ideas person. This is a person with great plans, great ideas, but I feel that they don't really take those ideas into the world in order to build them. So they expect other people to do it, and they don't want to get their hands dirty. So I feel like you're dealing with somebody like this as it relates to a work partnership or a romantic partner. Your eighth house deals with joint finances. So the eighth house is basically the psychic house. And just for the purposes of this reading, I want to simplify a little bit and see how it relates to you. But usually if there are important things that, if the card is important and it falls into a specific house, then I will mention it. But the eighth house and also the 12th house, those are both psychic houses. And so let's talk about this card. We have the sun in the reverse position. And as it relates to your joint finances, the sun in the reverse is basically expecting like a big financial windfall or some type of a big financial payout. And then when you actually get the news, it's a lot less than you're hoping for. Okay, so it's a little bit of a downer, and I apologize for that. But when it comes to joint finances, be very, very careful, especially if you are partner up with this person right here. I feel like they are prone to exaggeration when the reality sinks in. There might not be as much financial abundance as you had hoped. Okay, and with the sun in the reverse as well, I keep seeing. This is a card, it represents children as well, and it links up, it's opposite your second house, which deals with children. I feel like a lot of expenditures going towards the children. So, you and a partner, if you have joint, like either joint custody or even like joint finances linked up together, there seems like, at first it seems like there's a lot of money, but then after you subtract all the expenditures as it relates to children, then I feel that there isn't a lot left over. So be very careful when it comes to spending overall, okay? For those of you who are just, single and you have share, like you live with another person and you share things with another person, either a roommate, even like family members, or even whoever it is that you are dealing with, it feels almost as if one person is not putting in their fair share of the responsibilities. So the responsibilities being their financial obligations. So somebody is falling short mainly because they're not practical when it comes to calculating and doing their budget. Okay, sitting down doing their budget. This situation they're saying is going to clear up like within a month or so. But this seems to me as if this is a sore spot in your chart right now, and if you let it balance out whatever that financial obligation you share with another person, balance it out, sort it out. I do feel it's heavily related to children and things like that. So the ninth house deals with higher education. It deals with foreigners. It deals with foreign travel, as well as philosophy, religion, and things like that. We have here the King of Swords. And I feel like for those of you who are in school, this is a very, very good card. This is somebody that is very logical. They're very, very systematic. Their mind is very sharp. They have incredible critical thinking and problem solving skills. And so if you're in school, I feel like this is the energy that you are projecting. You're very methodical. And I do feel like a lot of you might be in the technical profession if you are in school. I do see a lot of people doing research, crunching numbers, or even doing statistical analysis. So I do see a lot of techies, and especially math people. In terms of like, as it relates to like philosophies, foreigners, and even foreign travel, there is this person in your life right now that is really expanding your horizon. So we have here a Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising. And it can be male or female. The way that it shows up here is this is somebody who is, they're not an emotional person. They have a lot of questions. They're very inquisitive. They know a lot of things about a lot of things. And I feel that their energy is not one that is very laid back and receptive. Their energy is a little bit more confrontational. So they like verbal debates. They like, having philosophical discussions. And I feel that you're going to be communicating with this person heavily. And I feel like they might challenge as well. They might challenge some of the things that you have grown up believing. They might challenge, they might, force you to back up your claims. They might force you to like show them evidence and things like that. If you're a student, you might have a teacher like this, okay? Like a professor or even a teacher. And so this is somebody, in order to get on his or her good terms, you want to like quote everything, cite everything, so that he knows that you're thorough. Okay. Let me see. Foreign travel. There is discussion about travel with this person. So, however they appear in your life, there's a lot of discussions about travel with this Aquarius, Gemini, Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising, and male or female. And it's very good for you. And I feel like it's going to be kind of like an outlet. So I feel that, if you wanted, if you, while grown up, you might have wanted a lot of emotional, conversations. I feel that as an adult, the outlet in order for you to get this emotional gratification is to have these very, very philosophical discussions with another person. I do feel like that's going to really feed your emotional needs as an adult. Okay, so if the emotional aspect has been vacant grown up, I feel like you're compensating in this manner, and it's not negative or positive, but I feel like it's going to be quite different from what you're used to, and it actually can heal this aspect right here. Okay, so focus more on having these philosophical discussions. Focus more as well. This is a very good card that basically means, you for those of you who want to go back to school, this is a good card that it's basically a yes, because your mind is very sharp, and if it's not utilized, then it's basically wasted. So they're really encouraging you to go back to school, or even if you're kind of like at a loss for a career path and or even a work, finding a work environment that's favorable for you, that will make you happy. I do feel like going back to school or working in an educational institution would be very beneficial for you. Okay. The 10th house deals with career, and it also deals with the father. So let me talk about the father first, because this is a big message coming through. So the Four of Swords is a card about recuperation, like after surgery, after some type of health crisis, okay? So this is like overcoming that, coming out of surgery and getting the clean bill of health. So I feel that, you might hear something about this as it relates to your father. As it relates to your career, we have the Four of Swords, and the Four of Swords is a situation where we have stayed rested for too long, and we need to make a move. We need to like resume the battle, and we need to just put ourselves out there to see what's available. So I feel like there might be some disagreements and some strife coming through in your work environment right now. I feel like you're maxing out on your ability to really, progress on the income level. So I feel that it's really important for you to figure out where you need to be career-wise, because this area is also quite shaky. And I feel like for a lot of you, you might have been raised in an environment where things were kind of unstable, where you couldn't get like, that clear sense of guidance from either a father figure or a mother figure. And as a result of it, and you might not have had like, siblings that you can bounce ideas off of. You might have been the only child, or there wasn't that strong connection between siblings. So I feel that you were like on your own trying to figure things out, and it became very, very difficult. So I feel like you're kind of like floating around. You know what you like, but I feel that you just need to like, take the steps in order to get there. Okay, take the steps to steer your career path in the right direction. This is coming up for re-examination too. Now, going back to what I mentioned about 3 years ago, we were going through a major Saturn return. It was quite painful, but whatever was problematic had to be pretty much knocked down so that you can rebuild, right? So your foundation, it was built on faulty footing. And so it crumbled, and it needed to be dismantled because it wasn't good for you. So what it's saying is that, sometimes some people, so let's just say, if a tower breaks down, right? Some people, they get a little bit complacent. They're afraid of change. So whatever is broken down, they try to use the same material to build it back up. And then others, they wipe the slate clean and they start over. And so they're pretty much urging you right now. You have obligations, you have things where, and I feel like a lot of you have children and you have like financial obligations. So you can't really start over, even though you want to. It's always easier to just wipe the slate clean and just, rebuild from scratch. It's a lot easier. But you have family obligations, you can't do that. And then others of you, there's nothing holding you back, but I feel like it's the fear of change, because you're shown up here in the reverse position, meaning that you're clinging on to a situation way past its expiration date, and some things need to change in your life, but you're so fearful of change, okay? So depending on which, tackle one thing at a time, otherwise all of these things will kind of coalesce and affect you through. House deals with your friends and your group associations. First of all, we have here a situation with the Two of Pentacles. This is like juggling financial obligations. I feel like for sometime this month, there might be a friend that might need your help, financial assistance, okay? And I feel like there might be a friend here that you are either lending money to, or you are reaching out to, I feel like you might be the one reaching out to, for financial assistance, or a friend is coming in to reach out to you for financial assistance. But either way, there's going to be news and things like that related to a friend. This is also a card about travel as well. So, traveling to see a friend, or even having a friend come to see you. So it looks very, very positive overall. As it relates to group associations, this is a card about you still reassessing. So I mentioned before, oftentimes group associations relate to things that are optional, right? So you want to ally yourself with groups, and even groups that have potential for professional networking. But the way that things are right now, I feel like with your value system, they need to be re-examined. So I feel like, you're still going through a major rebuilding process. You're trying to find your footing. And so right now, you're still not sure. You're still uncertain. And I actually don't see Scorpios feeling uncertain. This is the first time that I feel that, on the one hand, you have a lot of abundance, like in love and support. But on the other hand, it feels almost as if you're coming into this year very wobbly when it comes to your foundation overall. And when you're wobbly with your foundation, you're not really sure, like, what you can believe in, what you know to be true, and you're not really sure about your capabilities and what you really stand for and what you can really believe in anymore. So there's almost like a spiritual crisis, or a crisis of faith. And so sort this out as well, okay? And the group associations then basically indicates that you're not going to be able to network with people and join these associations until you figure out where you stand, until you figure out what you really value. Once that is figured out, then this can happen for you, okay? The 12th house basically deals with institutions, and it deals with secrets, okay? So just for the sake of this reading, first of all, the 12th house is another very, very psychic house, and it's heavily activated. So we have the 8th house, which is heavily activated, but it's activated in a way where you are getting some push, some nudge to take care of your career and your public image, okay? Reform your career path and your public image. And the 12th house here is signifies, some type of a soulmate connection here coming through for you. So the 2 of Cups we have as well the 6 of Cups, which is a soulmate connection. So both of these things indicate to me that there is a soulmate person in your environment. They can offer you a lot of like spiritual healing. Whatever past relationship where you thought that, that person was a soulmate, I feel that there is a new one coming through, and it's going to provide some healing, whatever destruction was brought about by the previous situation, circumstance, is going to provide some healing. Additionally, what they're saying is, because this is a house of secrets, this is not something that you are aware of. But I feel that I feel this overwhelming sense of loneliness. It's almost like, being surrounded by a bunch of people, but still feeling on the outs, feeling as if I'm not being understood. So I feel that it's really important for you, in order to like let that go away. You are going to have to network a little bit more with people. You are going to have like more soulful connections and conversations with other people. So that means letting your guard down. That basically means as well seeing another person rather than focusing on, how different you are. Looking at them like and try to pinpoint your similarities. So treating others in a more egalitarian way, that's going to be very beneficial for you, to allow you to see things from their perspective. Okay, so having more soulful communication as well as philosophical discussions, these are the two main things you should focus on, because they're very strong in this spread. So those two areas are going to provide very good outlets for you to overcome these challenges that happened in the past 3 years, to overcome this sense of isolation and feeling like as if your friends don't really understand you. So you need to get this rolling for the next few months, so that it doesn't affect you throughout the entire year. Okay. I'm going to go into your love reading now. So I pulled out this guy because he is the card that represents your 7th house, which is the house of relationship. So we're going to use this as a segue into the next portion of the reading. So let me shuffle the cards. So what's in store for you for love, romance, and relationship for the month of January? I feel like some of you, if you have like children with another person, there is like constant communication back and forth. So I feel like there might be some conflicts coming through in a relationship. If you have a relationship, if you have like children with a relationship partner, okay? So disagreements over responsibilities, as well as so they're saying disagreements over responsibilities as it relates to children, parenting, co-parenting techniques, disagreements regarding, who's supposed to pick up the kids, who has the kids on which day. So I feel that coming through. So it's not like major arguments, but it can be resolved. And I feel like, that's for those of you who have children and are still with the mother or the father of the children. And then others of you, I feel like there is, like custody issues, and even like wanting to renegotiate the terms of custody, who has the kids for what day. And then some are still on the tail end of major divorces, okay? So this is a card about, wanting to like break out, wanting to start something new, but feeling very, very restricted. So as it relates to this reading, I feel that a lot of you are like, you just want some excitement. You want to break out of the minutia of, like the everyday living, having to take care of yourself, having to handle responsibility, work, and things like that. So I feel like you want something to stir you up. You want something to like make you feel alive and make you feel that passion and, excitement again. And there are circumstances in your environment that might not allow you to do that, either practical obligations that you have to other people, or just, your environment is not too conducive for that. So let me just talk about the foundation. And the foundation is something that has already happened, to be, okay? We have here the 2 of coins. And the 2 of coins is usually the juggler. This is a situation when we are like either juggling responsibilities, juggling two people, or trying to get our footing as it relates to a relationship partner, okay? A lot of you are involved with this person. This is an air sign, an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra. And this is a person that is, he or she shows up in the reverse position. So this is somebody that they might have a habit of not communicating in a way that expresses what they mean. So what it indicates to me here is that you have to do a little bit of a guessing game constantly to understand if they are serious or if they're joking. So there is some communication issues as it relates to this air sign, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. And I also want to say here as well, if you are dealing with this person, it seems to me almost as if they're giving you some information and your intuition kicks in, because you are highly psychic. Your intuition kicks in, you're just like, that doesn't sound like the truth. And they're giving you the information, and because they're showing up in the reverse position, you want to be very, very careful about what they're telling you, okay? And I also feel as well, overall, this indicates a lot of excitement, a lot of flirtation, but it's a situation that is not entirely stable. I mean, still communication problems. And then on top of that, it's a relationship that is very, very, very unstable. And then for others of you, you might be, money, finances, might be affecting your relationship as well. So, going back to people who are parents, there are a lot of expenditures. So I feel almost as if, money, finances, and things like that really affecting your ability to date, your ability to get out there, your ability to really maintain relationships as well, okay? Going back to the past, let's look at the past situation. In the past, we have the Hangman, and this is being stuck in a situation that was not entirely favorable or even comfortable. The Hangman is a card about sacrifice. It's a card about, sacrificing something that we know is not good for us, mainly because we want to be a better person. So whatever that means to you, I feel that it relates to a person from the past with the Eight of Wands here, cutting off communication with a person from the past, even though they keep soliciting you. You had to do it because it wasn't a good environment for you to be in, even though you might have really liked them, even though, there might have been a lot of chemistry, a lot of passion, but for whatever reason, you feel that in the greater scheme of things, it wasn't going to work out, or it wasn't going to be a good relationship for you. So you had to make that sacrifice in order to better yourself. So stopping communication with a person from the past, mainly because it's almost like stopping communication with them, cutting them out of your life, because it wasn't serving your higher purpose, okay? Which brings us to the present in situation. The present situation here, we have the Four of Cups. This is you breaking out of your rut. You're starting to date, and you're starting to, give other people like a chance to either get to know you on an emotional level, or even giving other people a chance in order to like make connections with other people. So in the past, you might have been very, very selective about who you date. You are a fixed water sign, so you don't give your heart away easily. You make people jump through hoops. And I do sense that, for this month coming through, you have implemented some type of a stoppage in communication. And so you are declared like either a bachelor or a bachelorette, and you're actually going out on dates, and you're giving people the opportunity to come into your life, okay? It's linked up as well with the Five of Swords, and the Five of Swords is a conflict card. When it shows up in the reverse, it basically means an end to conflict, a coming together, and even like, hashing out your differences, but the harmony, the peace treaty that is coming through at the end of it. So for those of you with disputes, regarding children, who's doing what, and, who's shouldering the weight of the responsibilities as it pertains to children, I feel like you're not going to be in disputes with your partners anymore. So it looks good. Crowning this reading is something that you are thinking about. We have here the Six of Swords, and the Six of Swords is basically cautioning you whatever conflict that comes up during this month, we're still dealing with the Mercury in retrograde, and usually things that have been swept under the rug for many, many months often comes up. Okay, so the same topic are being argued over, and the same subjects where you're not seeing eye to eye with a partner, those things are going to be coming up for you to re-examine them, address them, and lay them to rest for good. And so I feel like there is a recurring problem, either responsibilities or even like, whether or not you can trust, like trust issues, the same things over and over again. It keeps coming up, and it's like the same debate every single time. And with the Six of Swords, you're not able to sail away from these troublesome issues. It keeps recurring, and it keeps coming back in. So if it keeps coming back in, you need to find a way to reach a truce and just to never mention it again, or at least resolve it so that it doesn't creep up. Because on a karmic level, it is coming up so that you can resolve it. Because I feel almost as if you don't resolve this, it can make or break the relationship down the line. So if you're dealing with another person and they're complaining about, you not being emotionally expressive and things like that, you need to address that issue, okay? And I feel, once again, it is linked up with responsibilities, like practical responsibilities, financial issues, as well as who's putting in their fair share of the work to maintain the relationship. So I feel for some of you in relationships, finances might be seriously affecting the prospect of that relationship. And I keep seeing, parents and children. So I feel child rearing. Somebody's not putting in their fair share, or the other person at least feels as if their partner is not putting in their fair share. So this is coming through again. So just, try to fix it, okay? What we have that's coming through for you who are singles, we have here the Magician. And the Magician, this is a really flashy person. So we have this person showing up for you as a romantic prospect, especially for those of you who are single. This is the person that's going to really, sweep you off your feet, and then they're going to break your heart. Because this is what I call the bachelor, and they don't want to be in a relationship. This is somebody who's going around and making the rounds, and, they're flirting, and they're meeting new people, and they're looking for fun and excitement, and they're quite extravagant, very, very, very intelligent person. Traditionally, I don't think of this person as somebody who's very good looking, but they have a lot of charisma. So they might not be, traditionally or classically handsome or beautiful, but they have a lot of charisma. They are incredibly intelligent, very sociable, and very likable, very charming. And so I feel like, their stage presence is really going to sweep you off your feet. But it leads me to believe that this is a person that is not going to be a good relationship partner, because they're going to tell you they're not looking for a relationship up front. They're just going to tell you, I don't feel that they're being dishonest. Otherwise, they would show up as the manipulator. So with the Magician energy, it's somebody you can have fun with, but it's not somebody that you can, plan a future around, okay? It's linked up here with the Queen of Cups in the reverse position. So for some of you, this could be the person that you're dealing with here, another water sign, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. And what I'm sensing here is that one person wants a relationship and the other person just wants fun and excitement. And what I'm also feeling as well with the Queen of Cups, this could be your energy where you are just like, your lifestyle is too extravagant. I keep seeing arguments over money. So one person is spending money very, very frivolously and very extravagantly. And then the other person is just like, no, I can't handle that lifestyle. Like it's draining me financially and even emotionally. Like you can't handle that lifestyle. And so these financial arguments are coming through. Fix them early on, okay? And especially for those of you who are single, I feel like you are going to encounter this person. And I feel almost like once again, it's a person for fun and excitement. It's not a person for a relationship. Keep that in mind. I feel like some of you are feeling a little bit inadequate in their presence for whatever reason. You feel a little bit like intimidated. You feel almost as if they seem very, very sharp, very witty, very intelligent, and just really charming. And so you're in danger of being swept off your feet. And I feel that their lifestyle that they have, you just feel almost as if, you, in comparison, you feel almost like you can't really be with them because you can't provide that lifestyle for them. So that's what I'm sensing here. So as if there are many things in your, in that first spread that you have to work on. Okay, so work on rebuilding, building things from scratch, starting over, rather than trying to salvage whatever is left and then building off of that. I feel that a lot of you need to start over, and you are fearful of change, and that's normal, but I feel that it's going to be a lot easier for you to just start over. Okay. If you liked a private reading, please visit my website in the description box below. If you'd like to donate to the channel as well, it's greatly appreciated. So the link for that as well is in the description box. I wish you the best. I'm going to be back for the mid-month reading, and hopefully, I can flush out some of these sore spots for you guys. Okay? Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in about 2 weeks. Bye-bye.